All good, this is video 4. If you haven't seen the others, take a look at the playlist. Let's go for another video. Limu's explosion ability is too powerful. Limu then says that as he had already eliminated almost all of the Monchos around, he asks everyone to stay here, as he will come back for them after eliminating the ants in them. The academy students then agree with Limu. Then they say that they will wait for him when they see Limu. Moving away, one of them comments that about 3 hours have passed since they entered Danger and the others. They say that they still don't believe what happened, and that if someone told them, that they would definitely not would believe. 20 minutes later, one of the students suggests that they face some monsters because the little god is doing. This seemed so easy that he started to think that monsters must not be that strong. Excited, the others confirmed and suggest trying since they are all professionals and their levels are higher than Godlin's. They then say, who probably managed to eliminate them. 2 minutes later, one of them comes running back and says that he accidentally attacked both at once, and quickly the others order to start combat and ask the healers to prepare healing. The tank comments that this scorpion shouldn't be a big deal, and one of them activates his provoke ability, and after the scorpion launches an attack against him, he is thrown away. The others comment that this attack is very powerful. Then they ask to heal him quickly. After the real heal the tank, he does the damage was so high, so he asks the magicians to attack. After the scorpion receives the attack, his constitution is in 5892 out of 6,000 points. The tank claims the damage. They did not even blind the scorpion, and quickly the warriors say that you can leave it to them, and everyone jumps on top of the scorpion. Minutes later, the scorpion is finally defeated, and they receive 7,500 experience points. Tired, they comments that this animal was very resistant, and that this place is very strange. They then wonder if all existences are like this, and Godlin be facing these types of monsters alone is very incredible. Another group that was distracting another scorpion asks them to get up as yet another scorpion quickly. They say it's true, and that there are 2 warriors. Then he gets scared and comments that they don't know what to do. Because they don't have any more energy, they wonder why they didn't listen to God LM, so they say they probably didn't will resist this fight, and will be eliminated. Then the scorpion attacks them, but the warrior skeleton and Limu appears, activating his Fury Strike ability. He cuts Scorpio in the middle. The others are impressed and comment that they now realize how powerful they are. Limu's skeleton warriors, because in just one attack he managed to eliminate the scorpion. A crying girl scared says that God sent him, the skeleton warrior, to protect him. One of the boys comments that it was 10 minutes ago that he left has not yet been formed, that no monster has been eliminated, so the other scolds. Then he says that the god Lin must be grouping the monsters like he did before. Then they can't believe what's happening because numerous messages appear informing that the soldier ants have been eliminated, and they are receiving 8,000 experience points for each one. Then 2 more cars comment that Limu must have already reached the boss, and they start to say that there is a super powerful queen in the anthill, and that it is very difficult to defeat. Another comments that he heard that if the DPS is not enough to eliminate her quickly, she will roll up in the cocoon. Once it becomes possible to defeat her, a girl overhearing their conversation asks if they continue to underestimate the god's DPS. Lion Limu, after finally reaching the queen and regarding her corpse explosion ability, eliminating and leaving everyone outside, impressed with the speed at which El Muyo managed to eliminate her afterwards. Limu leaves Formiguero and says he will go directly to the tyrant's fort as he needs to get this over with quickly and return with another team to try to find the desert fruits. A few minutes later he arrived at Fortaleza of the tyrant. Then the students don't believe it because the army is waiting for them. They comment that they can't even imagine that Dizzle was doing this alone, so they say that if Dizzle continues doing the dangos alone, he will rise from level 20 to level 30 in less than a month. Then Slime activates his explosion ability, corpse eliminating all the moans and opening the gate, so the students don't believe what is happening, so they comment that they didn't know that it was possible to ignore Dangel's mechanics if its damage was self-sufficient in. Then the lion takes away Rui, making everyone scared. They say that it's better to stay away because God Lim, it may take a while for him Undermine him. Limu look at the tyrant lion comments that finally they met again. Nu then Limo apologizes and says that this time he is in more of a hurry than last time. Limo quickly orders, let all of his skeleton warriors attack while he uses his soul flame to keep the lion from taking away. Moving one of the students, watching the fight from afar, he comments that when he sees him attacking like that, it gives the feeling that the boss world class is nothing more than a plaything for Deus Lin, and he makes it look so easy that it makes you want to help them. Another who is next to him suggests that he go, but tells him not to cry in fear when the Mancho attacks quickly. The boy who is ready to help says it's a joke, and that the desire to help has already passed, so Leon. Tyrann eliminated and everyone receives 50,000 experience. Excited students. They comment that they finally managed to finish the mission and thank Limu, then they return to the meeting room. Instantly Limu thanks Charon for her help and asks if she can help him again with the second group Buv Elam. Moyle leaves Inanno, he calls his boss Bail Shung and comments that Limu left the Baisheng Danjo, tell him to go to the next Danjo and find out how Limu can complete it alone. Charon says there is a lot that now there are more people wanting to go than the previous time because many people are on this mission. So she says that after hearing that God Lin is helping them do the mission, they ran here after entering the Desert of Tyranny. Again Limu comments that he hopes that this time he finds the fruits of the desert. So next arrive in Noah Limo as soon as possible. Then he says that now he can improve his remaining skills, and as Elon has a day and a half until the opening ceremony, by then he will do the number of dangos possible. The other students in person read him eliminating the monsters with ease. They comment that this seems like a dream because they are gaining experience without doing anything. They then comment that the 1,000 points paid to enter the DJON, it was a bargain. Then Limu arrives at the final boss, so he wonders if the DJON is going to end yet, as they make it worth it. 7 hours since when they arrive. This will be a new D-Angel record. After Limu eliminates the boss, the others begin celebrating because finally they finished their mission, and Bo can't believe how fast Limo can finish the mission, so he thinks he will have to quickly report this to his boss Bo Ao. When he returns, he quickly goes to Bailey Shung and tells how the Danjo was completed. Bail Shung starts to smile. He comments that slime has some kind of mass destruction ability that utilizes the corpses, and their skeleton army has high attributes. In other words, if the summoning abilities are restricted and there is no Limu corpse, becomes completely useless. Bang then tells Abu that all professions have a weakness, and that seems to be Limu's. He orders Bu to call a line from Gremio du Dragao hidden and say that he would like to ask a favor at the dance. Shing thinks that due to the humiliation they went through in the heart from the boss, who was from Gremio Bail, they definitely made Lima pay for this at Xia University. Jing in the dorm in Shashu looks at the window and remembers that her father asked her to. She doesn't forget to spend her points intelligently. She comments that there are so many good things in CAD, and it's a shame that everything has to be paid for with points. She then says that she can't afford to spend without thinking. She expresses envy towards Limu because he must have over 30,000 points, and what's more, he must have received a big amount of points for being the best in the country. She remembers that she heard from Director Liu that Limo had already arrived at university only 2 days. She then wonders what Limo must have already done in those 2 days. Considering her skills, he imagines he must be doing very well. The next day, God by Nig and Meg are reunited, and Nig tells Deus by that the boy he likes is very cheeky. Deus by asks Nig what happened, and he points out that Lim is a boy with a calm personality, and God will ask no one what he could have. No one explains that ELO is demanding to take other people with him into the Desert of Tyranny. God by he asks if it's not normal for students to charge for helping NASD, and no one responds that he's exaggerating, because he is taking 39 people with him, including those who were trapped in years without completing the missions. By then smiles and comments that Limu is a boy. Smartly, he wonders where Limu came up with the idea of taking 39 people with him, and Deus by says they can't let this go unpunished in any way. Nig explains Deus why the university has a purpose of using assistants to select the talents that stand out and the people who get stuck in them. They are his problem, But now, with the arrival of Limu, he is messing everything up. God calmly says, "What? Understand what no one means, and ask what they will do about it, because they are missions and rules established by the university, and Limu didn't break any of them." God explained to anyone that these missions were leaving them unsatisfied. Because over the years a lot of talents have been stuck for not being sociable, as a result of not being able to found the team to help them at Dan Deasby says that in fact Limu did something very positive. Manga agrees with God's words by stating that it is a very old university system and it's time to reform it quickly. No one stands up and comments that God, Bai and Ming are on the same side, and then God. He asks why no one is so angry and, smiling, comments that no one is already an old man and asks him to drink. Be careful. God bars, so tell no one that if he tries to do something against Limu, he himself will destroy this whole scheme. Of Danjos then leaves the place, and Ming comments that the temperament of the old nobody stays the same. Godby says it's easier to move mountains than to change the nature of a thing. Then he says that there is only one person who is capable of controlling old Ning in the desert of tyranny. Noah's after Limu eat countless fruits and use his spells, his skeleton armor reaching level 21, granting the Limu 2,100 points of physical defense for 5 minutes. Comments that he believes now he can withstand the tyrant lion's attack, and his slowing curse is also at level 21, allowing him to AEL of your enemy within 105 m, reducing their speed by 105% for 1 minute. Limu thinks it's a shame he needs corpse to upgrade his corpse explosion skill. Otherwise, he would have taken the opportunity to raise her level sometime later at the opening ceremony. Shaswa is with the Zomiai. She comments that she chose the shared dorm because she didn't have many points, and she didn't. I imagine that Zomiai would be her roommate. Zom also expresses surprise, and Shashu says there aren't many points left, but she will cover the cost of meals from now on. So Zame, Half Yu Feng Xiu, and the girls at the gym are excited by his appearance, commenting that he is very handsome. Feng Shui quickly meets them, and they greet you, and Shashu comments that he seems to be very popular with the girls. Feng Shui is embarrassed, and Zame asks if they don't turn Limu back to Limu. After completing gel again, she reaches level 22, and when analyzing her status, she realizes that her skill is at maximum level, and that she is following her IMA level. Comments that when loading all those people gave him a total of 350,000 points, but they are not even close enough, as each intermediate level skill scroll costs around 880,000 points, and that he will only get 4 of them for now. Ryu thinks that the 4 scrolls should be enough to enable all intermediate skills, but you need to think of a new way to get more points. So he says that for now he's going to the university opening ceremony with less than 10 minutes to go. Minutes to start. All get together in the university courtyard and ask yourself, because he hasn't shown up yet. Feng sees him and says he's coming. Everyone is impressed because Limu became stronger in such a short time, even looking like someone else. Mockme comments that there is a combat class around Limu and suggests that he must have just come from a dance. The others, when students see Limu, they recognize him as the #1 in the country, so they comment that Limu seems a little out of touch, different from before, making him feel a little scared of him. Chocho, this one, calls Limu quite excited to see him, and he replies that he has already seen them. Zame asks what level Limu is, and he replies that he is at level 22. Everyone is impressed by Slime is already at level 22, and Shashu asks how he leveled up so quickly, as it has only been a few days since they entered the university. Limo explains that if he hadn't helped some other people in the DDIST, he would already be at level 24. Comments that he heard that in the city of Dangel it allows you to use points to reduce the cooling time, but I hadn't seen any yet. Shashu said that as the country's number he must have plenty of points to spend in this way, but they are a separate case, and you need to use your points with pusses now. That getting points is very difficult. Limo, I think it's actually not that difficult, since he charged 1,000 points to help those people in the dance by earning a total of 39,000 for each dance afterwards, or if they don't start playing, and announced that the students are doing well at Shaojing University. The university leaders say that suppose everyone They were geniuses in their respective academy, but now they all only have the identity of freshmen at the university of Shijing, and that the university is divided between students. Common academic students and students. Higher academics, and there being 3 levels, and each of them enjoying them. His privileges, so he says that for everyone to have these privileges everyone must work hard, so it's informed that there will be a traditional event at the opening ceremony of Xjing, and that it will be a duel between freshmen and veterans. Veterans can propose a challenge using their points, and freshmen can accept or refuse, but if they win, the points offered by the veterans will be theirs. Then they are informed that the freshmen are exempt from any payment whether winner or loser. Then they inform you that this is an opportunity to win points and demonstrate talents to veterans, and teachers dais by comments that every year is the same story of repressing new students, so he says that this event is very meaningless. No one says that all the heat is the best in their respective province, so nobody says that he is sure that the majority are quite arrogant and that it's a way of teaching them to respect God by, so he asks if anyone will have the courage to challenge him in Mayu So Ming. He says that if someone has the courage to challenge him, they have to be very foolish. So some people comment that they will have a chance to gain points without losing anything, and he wonders if this is some kind of prank. Another comments that even if don't be a prank, your NB doesn't even compare to the veterans, and they are wondering how they would win. They are then announced that the Heats should not worry, as the competition will be held in a professional area and the level of both parties will decrease in the arena, making everyone with the same level and with the same skill parameters. Above level 20 cannot be used, and there is training that will protect them from any risk against your life. Furthermore, there are also divine level healers at the university ensuring the safety of everyone. Then one archer challenges another of the same class, and after the Heat accepts, they go towards the arena. In the background, the boy comments that he knows that newcomer, and he is number 1 in his province, so he comments that they must start aggressively. Suddenly someone challenges Limu after Limu looking to see who she was. See Ling. Then Ling says she knows that Limu is number 1 in her generation country, and Ling asks if Limu has courage to accept his challenge, or are you scared, Nemo? So he thinks it's that damn thing again, so he comments that it is. It's a shame that this fight will be at the university, because if it had been in another place, he would have already done language disappear. So Limu asks Ling how much he offers for the challenge, and Ling says 5,000 points quickly. Limo says it's not enough, leaving Ling scared. So Ling says that in this case, if Limu would like how many points to accept your challenge, then Limu says he wants at least 100,000 points. The other veterans heard Limu's proposal to accept Ling's challenge. He was impressed. He reached comment that they only have 50,000 points. How would Ling have all that? Ling with a sarcastic smile asks if that it must be a joke, so Ling asks if Limu has any idea what 100,000 points are. He asks if Limu is fur minus this amount with him to make a proposal like that. Then Ling insults Limu, saying that with the value of this, he could buy someone like him lemon, realizing that everyone thought it was a very high value and that they are speculating that Limo doesn't even have that value. He then makes a new proposal using the points he has him at the moment as a parameter, so Limo says that if he beats Ling, he will have to pay the amount of points that he has in his wallet. So Limo said that if he loses, all his points will be Ling's. Then Limu asks if the veteran Ling has the courage to accept his proposal, leaving Ling quite scared by the proposal. Limu Shashu is also impressed by Limu's proposal to Ling. She thinks that Limu's fool never said anything, and now he said more than one sentence. She thinks that Limo Ling must have some kind of risk to make Limu say more than one sentence. Then Limu asks Ling what his answer will be. Then Ling, nervous, thinks that Limu is so confident to the point that he wants to bet all his points, so he thinks he can't refuse because Su would be stained if he didn't accept. So Ling tells Limo that she accepts his proposal, and Ling thinks that this guy is just hot and that he shouldn't have that many points in. Then Ling says that he has something up his sleeve to win this battle, but when he sees that Ling challenged Limu, he thinks that this fool must be wanting to die on the battlefield. Ming says that after completing several the young Limu must have around 300,000 points, and no one says that Limu deserves a punishment for having helped those students. Then Limu enters the arena and is informed that Ling is a Witcher member of the Bailey Guild of level L21 and necromancer slime number 1 in the country of level 22. The veterans to see the fight of Limu and Ling. They ask if that guy they heard about was breaking records in the D area is a warm talk to the veteran that this is God Lin. Then he comments that he didn't know that Limu was hot, so he says that he has just been carried by the God Lin in the desert of tyranny, and that Limu probably managed almost 40,000 points helping them in a single dance, so he says if Limu wins, we'll get a lot of points. Then everyone comments that this fight will be very interesting to see who Limu is. Consider the country's number. He says that this means nothing to him. Mo looks at Ling and says that he has already passed his level and teaches that Ling is weaker than he imagined. Furious, Ling says that he has had great qualifications since he was little, and that he entered university to continue improving. Ling says that he is a genius at a level that a commoner will never reach. So Limu repeats again, saying that the level of Ning is inferior to his. This makes Ling furious, and he says that Limu just has a rubbish profession, and he bets that everyone your progress was pure luck, and that on the battlefield what matters is the STE. So Lim repeats again, saying that the Ling's level is lower than his Ling, so he gets even more furious and can't contain himself, and he attacks Limu and starts insulting him. Ling comments that Limu's family didn't give him an education, and that he will teach him something limey. Then he starts to remember when he was little he was with his sister and his grandmother, and he starts to look with his eyes dark to Ling. Ling hears Limu's expression, he gets nervous, so Ling comments that he has that look again, and the same look that he looked at him the last time they met. Faced, and what appears to be a death stare, so he wonders if Limu really wants to kill him. Ling be Limu coming towards him slowly. Ling says that Limu depends on your summoning skill and the explosion of corpses, and that without the corpses to use your ability, and without the power to summon them, you become a completely useless. Limu then activates your soul call and tells Ling that if he hadn't gone to university you'd probably already would be dead. Quickly Limu summons his skeleton warrior and orders it to attack no one. Then no one breaks a jewel and Limu's skeleton warrior simply disappears. Then Limu realizes that his summoning ability was sealed, and he can no longer summon his skeletons. Ling starts laughing and tells Limu that he is a summon sealing talisman specially designed for summoners. Ling speaks to Slime, who like him not. You can summon more on the spot, and there are no corpses. You become completely useless. Then sling at yours fire rain skill, and says that Limu must respect him, and even if he can't kill him today, he will do everything. Limu's body feels a burning pain. Ling says that Limu is a pretentious bastard, and that he will see how much Limu will withstand his attack. Ning says that Ling Xin used the summoning sealing talisman especially designed to face summoners. Meng says that this is a summon sealing talisman, and this item is of intermediate level, and it's not easy to get one of these, so he says that apparently there is someone behind the plans trying to eliminate Liu Deus. Bai tells everyone to pay attention, because Ling will pay the price soon and Limu won't. Will make this cheap by returning to the fight. Limu activates his skeleton armor, and after defending Limu's attack, thinks that Ling's attack is useless. Ling Alb Limu covered by his flame speaks. It is very good that Elmu is above level 20, because then he will be able to use all his skills afterwards. Ling asks Limi what he thinks of his rain of fire, because it is very powerful, so he asks Limu, what does it feel like to be burned by the flames? Suddenly Lingda Vista Limu coming towards him, as if he hadn't feeling nothing in the face of his attack, so he wonders how this is possible. Then Lig says because his abilities are not working, and then he intensifies his attack, sending Limu to die. Now, after Limu receives all the attack, he looks at Ling and asks if he has finished using his useless skills, and then he Mola activates his skill calling soul, and after hitting Ling, he starts screaming in pain, leaving him seriously injured, spilling blood everywhere. Healer quickly begins to heal him. Limu comments that Ling only withstood his skill and didn't die thanks to the healer's protection, impressing the other students. Comment that it's over. He even comments that it was boring because the senior couldn't even handle Tom's attack. In the heat, they comment that the veteran was completely obituary in a matter of seconds, then they comment that it was too fast, and that Ling's skills don't even. They didn't even do any damage to Limu, so it starts to get closer to Ling. Fallen desperate, Ling tells Limo not to come closer. Limo tells Ling that Ling had lost and that he wants the points Ling, so he says that everything is fine and that he will give the points to Limu. Because as long as he's still alive, it doesn't matter the points or whatever, so he's responsible for the fight in the arenas. Informs that Limu won the battle, and according to the agreement between the two parties, the Ling student will have to pay the value of 358,000 points. The Limu Ling student looks scared when he hears the value. Then Ling comments that now he got screwed a lot after being informed that Ling will have to pay the amount of 358,000 points. Mayu Ling doesn't believe that Limu has that amount of points, and wonders how long it has been since Limu came to the university, because as Limu a heat, it was impossible for him to have that amount of points, so Ling said it must be a mistake. Cammy looks at Ling complaining about the price, and he asks if Ling is calling him a liar. Quickly Ling says that's not what he means, and then Cammy orders Ling pay the Alamo points right now. Ling starts to stutter, and says that he doesn't have that amount of points. See, then he says that as Ling only has 128,000 points, they will be transferred to Limu, and as for the remaining 231,000 points, you will have months to pay them, and not does it matter if he has to borrow, because if Ling doesn't pay, he will be expelled from the university, and since the university knows where Ling lives, they will make his family pay compensation. Then Limu receives the 128,000 points, and Shashu asks how the slime got so strong so fast, and she asks if they can complete some damage together in the future. Limu responds that it's okay, and then next he receives a call from Deus by asking him to get ready because they left in an hour. Limu I comment that God by said that I would take him to the Onion battlefield after the opening ceremony, and then he asks if they are going now. God responds yes, telling him to hurry. Feng Shu and Shashu EXI stays impressed, and Feng Shu comments that he had heard that the Onion battlefield is a real field of battle, and humans and the Abyss have been fighting there for thousands of years. Su comments that Limo said he was going to Yuan's battlefield, and then she comments that Limo doesn't rest at all. Minute Zom says it's a very dangerous place, but it's full of secret DNR, and that there is full of opportunity. Before finding God by, Limo decides stop by the store and sell some items that he had obtained from the Desert Joe, and after selling the quality equipment and gold, he comments that it yielded around 2 million gold coins. Mu says that as he is 1440 warrior, skeleton and 70 mages, he can't use much equipment, and for that reason the best option was to sell them. Guys, an observation, Limu's sickle had its name changed from Danados to Thanatos, and now, as Limu is in level 22, he has 360 points in attributes, and his spirit is at 1700, and your Tan's FC is at level 1 with a total of 140 skeleton warrior and 70 skeleton wizards. After Limu meets Deus by asks Meng to send it to the Yuan battlefield, then teleport Limoyo and God Bai to the Yuan battlefield, and when they get there, Limu is impressed by Xenia's tower. God will instruct Limu to act with caution, and suggests that he wait until the second evolution of his class before facing Xenia's tower, as it will be more advantageous that way. So God Ba Limon teleported to Yuan's battlefield. When they got there, Limu gets impressed with the place and comments that familiar aura is more powerful here, while Deus by Limu walks among the knights of the field of Xenia. God Ba explains Limu that the eye in the sky is called the Watcher of Demons, and was specially developed to monitor the Abyss and avoid surprises the knights when they see the emblem on the chest. To Deus Ba they get nervous, and Limu begins to think that Deus Ba has a great influence on them. Deus Ba hears Limu. Thoughtfully he smiles, and says he knows what Limu is thinking, so Dawes points stops at the emblem on his chest, and says he only takes this into consideration. God Ba says he will provide a badge to Limayu, and then they go to the Sergeant. God Badge Acquisition Office will ask the attendant who gave a sergeant badge to the boy next to him, and the attendant responds rudely Asking who the hell is wasting his time, however, when he sees the sign on God's chest, the attendant. He doesn't believe it because the general is in front of him. Quickly, he changes his expression and says that they got the badge quickly. And Godby then asks him to hurry because they are in a hurry. The attendant still doesn't believe that in front of him is the 5-star divine general and wonders who is the boy next to him. He thinks he must be important because the general came personally to request a sergeant badge, looking like a boy after Limo received his badge. God will instruct Lemon to wear it on her chest instead of keeping it in her inventory, and he says she will. The count of the demons of the abyss that was eliminated by Lemudeus by begins to explain Al what the ranks of the badges. And he mentions that the lowest rank is soldier with the color white, followed by sergeant with the color black, captain with the color silver, color major with the golden color, and general with the purple color. The stars on the badges correspond to the amount of military services provided in your rank, and the more services you have, the more stars the insignia will have, and that the hierarchical system is decided by the stars. And when you achieve more than 10 of them, you will be promoted. Deus by inform Lio that he is a 5-star general, and that there are no more than 10 5-star generals in the entire Dexia Empire. After Limo put his badge on his chest, God will ask him to accompany him, as there is still another place for them to visit next. They enter the Hall of Heroes, where Elimo is impressed by the number of local notables. Godby explains that this place is where ancestors are exalted, known as the Hall of Heroes, honoring those people who died in battle and were decorated as heroes. God will begin to recite a blessing, quoting the following sentence: "Even after death, I will return to the heavens and continue defending the empire of Xenia with the power of my soul." He repeats the phrase, and then he mentions bondage of him. Generation of Xenia asks the wise men of the empire to bless its heat, and he repeats this phrase also after a flash suggests, and God will explain to him that the Tower of Destruction granted him the spiritual mark, allowing Makase and Moyo die on the battlefield of Yuan. They can revive him again. Godby Ali says Mu that he should consider this as a second life, and Limu is incredulous because he didn't believe it would be possible to revive someone. Then he understands why Godby was talking about that phrase about blessing his warm. Then Limu thank Godby, and Godby puts his hand on Limu's shoulder, and he says he doesn't have to, and asks for Moyo to kill as many enemies as possible when he goes to the field of battle. Godby that will officially explain what the UN battlefield is and what a war fortress is of the Empire of Xenia, called the Great Wall of Eternity, composed of 9 fortresses lined up in a row with more than 10,000 kilometers away. The fortress they are in is the first fortress in front line, and unlike other countries that often ask for help, they have never been invaded by demon of the abyss since the completion of the construction of the Great Wall of Eternity. Godby explains there with many entrances to DJON on the battlefield of Yuan, but the abyss demon will prevent humans from entering them or ambushed at the entrances. He warns that the dungeon battles are much more fierce and dangerous, and God will pedal Mo to be careful when I go to them, and suggests that Limu buys a teleportation rock that I take back to Fortaleza. Deus by then ends the conversation and says that the rest is now in Limu's hands, and then he leaves of the place. When heading towards the exit, the knights, when seeing the slime level, he asks if he came with any relatives, and the other one says that the weakest monsters out there are level 30, and that the demons of the abyss are very dangerous. Limu thanks him for the information, but decides to take a look. When he leaves, Limu comments that the time of the abyss is dense, the visibility is terrible, and suddenly the ability of the skeleton armor of Limo is activated, and he wonders if he is being attacked, so he comments that he can't see what attacked him and suspects that it is an invisible slime monster, and orders its skeleton to look for who attacked it, and after it delivers a attack apparently in the void, Limu discovers that what attacked him was a level 30 battle ghost with attributes of up to 6,000 points of strength and immunity and physical attack. Limo comments that he imagined that physical attack would work, so he summons his mag skeletons to use their elemental attacks. After the mag skeletons attack the ghost, it is eliminated, and a panel informs you that the level 30 battlefield ghost has been eliminated and that slime received 3,000 experience points and the item called Soul Breath. This item contains the will of the dead from the battlefield, and that he can enhance weapons and equipment. Limu is impressed to obtain such a valuable item for defeating a common monster on Juan's battlefield. But he is also worried because if there is monos immune to Fiscus attacks, will probably also have monos immune to elemental attacks, and if there are any monsters immune to both, his skeletons may be useless. He thinks he will need to be more on alert from now on. Lemon. So he keeps walking and eliminating some monsters, and after walking for 2 hours, he wonders if he should. Being close to some dance, suddenly 3 people run towards you, desperate as they approach. Limma asks him to run away because they are being chased by monsters from the abyss. So later Limu saw the dogs of the abyss, level 31, with attributes of up to 5,000 strength points and 6,000 power points of speed. After the extras pass, like running desperately, they look back and see Limu heading towards the dogs of the abyss. Then they comment among themselves that it will be the end of Limu when he gets a little closer to the dogs of the abyss. Abyss Slime notices that one of them has an arm in its mouth, which makes him suspect that they devoured someone in anger. Limolu decides that these hounds of the foul abyss must die, and he summons his skeleton warrior and the skeleton wizards. He orders them to attack the mutant dogs. Then the wizards launch their spells, causing an explosion, and the warriors who advances to eliminate one of the dogs from the abyss. Then Limo receives a star on his badge and is informed that the level 31 abyss dog has been eliminated, granting him 310,000 experience points and another of merit. In addition, his Tanit side received 3.33 enhancement, and Limu comments that you can finally improve your weapon, but you will need to eliminate 30 more monsters from the abyss to reach level 2. Limu decides to use his corpse blast ability to eliminate all the dogs in the abyss at once, and thinks that it will only do so if you level up, and will also give you merit points after eliminating them to level 2, granting him an additional 100 spirit points to extras who witness the skill's explosion. Limu is perplexed and wonders what kind of skill this is. They begin to speculate whether Limu is a professional high level, since they have never seen a class capable of summoning undead creatures. However, they comment that if they feel relieved because now their exes are safe in another location. God of the Abyss does not understand what happened, for a pack of dogs was eliminated for apparently no reason, and he wonders if the dogs faced a high-level professional, so he says it doesn't matter, as he will send more of them, as it doesn't make any difference later. Limo arrives at level 26 Dango, where there are several groups of people around the entrance as extras pass by. Comments that L is too young because he doesn't even look 20 years old, and on top of that the white sergeant with no star, and that he is practically a soldier. Then another Albert insignia from Limu comments that Limu is from the Empire of Xenia. Then some extras approach Limu asking if he is alone, what is his level, and if Limu I would like to join him. The other one tells Limu that they are also from Xenia and can help him. Limu then thanks him and says he doesn't need it. After he arrives at the entrance of the Danjo, Limu realizes that it is a Danjo from the frontline combat post of the level 20 dragon with entry requirements of level 21 to 31. So Limu starts analyzing the difficulties, and he sees that on normal difficulty 4 people are recommended, in the nightmare difficulty is 6 people, infernal is 12 people, and Limu comments that finally now he can face a hellish difficulty, as he had only been completing the nightmare difficulty. And now it's time to try on hellish difficulty, so Limu starts teleporting into the dungeon, and the other extras try to convince him by saying that it doesn't matter the Limu level, so they comment that they can't let him die because this boy also represents the Empire of Xenia. However, after Limu entered the dungeon, extras are impressed, so they comment that entering the dungeon alone is practically suicide. So an extra from the country goes smiles and picks up an object saying that he will carry out an investigation, saying that everyone in Senshi loves to open his mouth to brag. The other extras are impressed and ask if this OBJO I talked to the guy from the country, and responds yes, and that the detector can identify how many teams are in each difficulty of Dangan, and that if someone dies, they will know after using the Dangan detector. Atel informs that in the Normal difficulty has a team of 4 survivors in the nightmare, 2 teams of 12 survivors, and that in the Infernal there is a team with only 1 survivor, so people are incredulous because Infernal there is only Lemon. Inside, the guy from the country asks if this is some kind of joke because that boy came in alone on hellish difficulty, and he asks if by any chance the Limu is trying to kill himself, and says that the new generation of Zinni is very stupid because it's the first time he's seen such recklessness next to the guy from the country, and he proposes a bet on how long will Limu stay alive in there. Irritated by Zinnia's members, she tells him to shut up and asks if the guy Oh! Country IA is trying to get into trouble quickly. He says it was a joke, and the members of Zinnia Manda. He shut his mouth. Then from the members Zinnia approaches the PA guy and tells him he stops talking nonsense, asking if he is trying to provoke Zinnia. He asks if the guy from the country is looking for trouble, and that Limu must be an extraordinary talent since he came alone, and as he is still young, it would certainly be a promising talent for Zinnia, and it is a shame that his adventure ends like this within the post. From the Dragon Limu Combat Front comments that this place has a completely different atmosphere from difficulty and nightmare because it seems that something has been blocked, so Limo realizes that it is not possible to use the inventory, and which means he cannot use the items, preventing him from using the teleportation rock to escape the danjo. Limo realizes that this is the level of difficulty of an infernal dance and sees some monch entering the forest. He comments that the monsters here are extremely powerful. As he approaches a little closer, he is informed that monsters are elite monster spearman dragons of hell, difficulty level 30, with a strength of 10,000 points. Constitution also of 10,000 points, in addition to having an ability called Comprehensive Spear. After the Monos spotted Limu, they stop at him, and Limu is impressed by the strength of these monsters since their unique attributes. Soldiers surpass the attributes of their soldiers, and that in fact they are even superior to the enhanced Monos at distance, and that everyone is at the level of a boss in difficulty in Nightmare. After Limu analyzes the status of the Dragon Spearman, he realizes that the strength of his warriors is half of their strength, but that doesn't intimidate life, and Limu orders his skeleton warriors to attack. When the warriors' slime skeletons approach them, the Dragon Spearman launches countless attacks against the skeleton warriors. But what Limu didn't expect is that the Spear Dragon's abilities would cause them to be stunned, so Limu comments that he can't move them back to their summoned space if they are stunned, leaving the skeleton warriors AV fist for the Dragon Spearman, and then 3 skeleton warriors are eliminated with ease. Quickly Limu changes his strategy and orders the skeleton warriors, who are not at full SEC, that the warrior spearmen, and he also orders the skeleton mages to prepare to attack. The strength of the mages' skeletons are extremely inferior to Dragon Spearmen, as they only have 2,200 strength. So warriors' slime skeleton goes after the spearman dragons, and Limu comments that no matter how high the creature's attributes are, opponent, as this is useless as long as he has the largest number of monsters, then he can use the skeleton mag of Limu casting his spells. 3 spear dragons are eliminated, and Limu receives 600 experience for each of them, and receives dragon skins. Quickly Slime activates his skeleton armor again, and he thinks like his skeletons do not have a way to defend themselves from the effect of the thrush. They need to be more cautious, and therefore this he can't let the spearmen surround his skeleton warriors again. So Limu thinks the Danes that he had been facing until now had no difficulties at all, and Limu excitedly says that he finally found one that he has to be careful while Limu walks through the forest, but spear dragons spot him, and Limu comments that this time it was quick because he barely walked around the place and more monos already appeared. He says that this time he will group them and eliminate them at once, using some of their skeleton as bait. Then some skeletons start to attract attention of dragon spearmen, making them follow you after they are captured. Limu don't understand what is happening, and wonders if what he binds them to are wind chains, because it is a magician's ability. Then Slime realizes that the monsters of this Joe are capable of using simple magic. Then Limo realizes that the monsters of this Joe have some level of intellect. Is then informed that 2 skeleton warriors have been eliminated. He Muse comments that losing soldiers would be very heavy if he only had some of them at his disposal, but since he has so many that it won't be a problem. So Limo orders several of them to attack the spearman dragons and the wizards, and Limo realizes that 5 skeleton warriors were eliminated, but he manages to eliminate 4 dragon spearmen, receiving 600,000 experience for each of them. Then Limon while dragon mage, and he realizes that they are level 31 with strength of 5,000 points and constitution of 8,000, and their skills are chains of wind and rain of fire. They launch an attack against Limu's skeleton mages, but Limu activates his soul call to stop their attack. Limu comments that now he is sure they are intelligent because he knows he needs to attack the mag skeletons first. Then Limu comments that it is already too late, and his call we love eliminates, receiving 620,000 experience points for each of them. But this time, in addition to just dropping dragon skin, one of them also drops dragon chiff. Dragon when he sees if Zit El Miu comments with the dragon's chiff about the materials that God will ask for. So Limo says it took a while, a lot to drop, as he had already eliminated so many, and he comments that the drop rate is relatively low and that this way you will have to complete the Joe a few more times to gather the materials that God asked for. Nemo continues walking and eliminating the spear dragons with the same strategy, and seeing more spear dragons, he thinks he has already lost so many skeleton warriors, and he says that this time he will have to change his strategy and use his explosion of corpse. Will run the risk of being left without skeleton warrior to use. Slime thinks this time will be the first time that he might run out of skeleton warrior, so he thinks that the infernal difficulty is really differentiated after the warriors of Slime attract the spearman dragons. He activates his ability and curse of slowness, leaving the spearman dragons almost real estate. Then Lim orders his mag skeletons to attack in another location. After Debbie returns, Ming asks if Debai had already finished, so he replies yes, and Ming comments that Deus Bai seems to be worried about Liu because he even gave him the spiritual mark in the Hall of Heroes, because the great 5-star general now only has 4. So Ming asks if he's not right, and God will say that these stars are just merit, and that Limu's life is more important because several geniuses of the human race have already died. So God be said that if he is able to stop, if one of them dies, he will do whatever it takes. Bai begins to explain to Ming that he gave Limo a mission to concoct materials from the dragon race, and he has no choice but to go to the dragon outpost, and God lower him. Explains that he gave this mission as a form of training for Limu. Meg then says that the materials that God asked for Limu has a fairly low drop rate on nightmare difficulty, and Limu will have a hard time gathering them all. God will start to forget the plan, and that's why El gave the cooling talisman to Limu, so God will says that for Limu to get all the items, he will have to complete the gel 8 times to get them all. So Meg tells God that this Dangan also has the infernal difficulty, leaving a God to worry. Then he wonders if Limo would have the courage to choose her and go alone. God starts scratching his head worriedly and says that he had forgotten to tell Limu that the difficulty weighs on him. Infernal, the difficulty of the monsters is not. Compare. Ming starts laughing and asks God not to worry, because how did Lio manage to carry 39 people with he in the desert of tyranny? Ming then asks who else could do this. Then Ming comments that God gave it for Limu, the spiritual mark that Limu will not die, but what will he do but suffer a little? God Bai asks what Ming thinks if Limu is able to complete the DJO on hellish difficulty, then Ming says that if he can do it, it will be relatively incredible because no one has ever achieved this effect by returning to Limu after he eliminated the dragon. Mage Limu sits down to rest a little and comments that so far he has only managed to get 2 dragon chief after eliminate more than 20 dragons mages. Then Limu comments that his skeleton warriors are seriously injured and he didn't even go through a third of the gel, and Limu comments that this gel has a very high difficulty because the monsters are quite powerful and can combine their attacks, so he says that the infernal dance is really incredible. So then I see a castle. Then he says that if monsters are like that, he even has curiosity regarding the Dange boss. After Limo approaches the castle, Ella addressed the level 31 archer dragons with strength of 8,000 and constitution also of 8,000, and its abilities are rain of arrows and slime arrows. To see the abilities, wonders if they also have crowd control abilities, and how he only managed to drop the horns from the wizard's dragons. He assumes that the other materials he needs to drop from the other monsters, so Limbu does not hesitates and orders his skeleton warriors to attack. However, before the lemon skeleton warriors can do something, one of them is eliminated, leaving the limo scared because one of them was eliminated before even taking an action. Quickly, the skeleton warriors begin to protect Limu, and he comments that it seems like there is an unknown enemy in water, extremely powerful and fast. Limo wonders what will happen, and then another Limu skeleton warrior is eliminated, and Limu notices that the attacks are coming from behind. He thinks he needs to find a way to stop it because if this continues, he will end up being the eliminated. Limu wonders if it's another invisible monster, so he says that if so, your mag skeletons will take care of him. Then Lim orders his mag skeletons to cover an area. Then they use their ice storm and tornado skills, and after using this magic, they can see the water. Then when analyzing the stats, he discovers that he is a level 32 dragon slayer with 10,000 points strength and constitution of 5,000 points. His skills are fatal blow, invisibility, and after Mio analyzing the attributes of the slayer dragon, he thinks that these attributes are quite high and the skills are quite strong. Combining visibility and the fatal blow, it is no surprise that he manages to eliminate the skeleton warriors with a single blow, but as their ability to become invisible is cancelled with attacks, and my comment is that they lose their advantage when they are revealed, and now it's your time to counterattack after Limu eliminates them. Receives the dragon heart and 640,000 experience points. Then Limu realizes that it is the slayer dragons that drops the dragon's heart, and he wonders which monster drops blood essence and the core. Then slime is spotted by the archer dragons, who quickly attack him with a rain of arrows and arrows. However, the Limo manages to activate his skeleton armor ability, and after it defends the attacks, he comments that it was for a while, and then Elmo activates his explosion ability, causing a huge explosion and eliminating the dragon's archers. He then receives 620,000 experience points and blood essence. Lima realizes that they are the archers who drop the blood essence and comment that now only the core is missing. Limu's skeletal warriors enter the castle and eliminate several archer dragons, and after walking a little, Luis Moya wonders about the boss, as he didn't find it. Then suddenly a statue that was in front of him starts to crack, revealing the guardian of the post. Advanced, he is the boss of level 33 infernal difficulty, with strength of 15,000 points, and speed of 13,000 and spirit of 10,000 and constitution of 15,000 points. His abilities are group attack, group stun, and increase of resistance. When seeing the boss, slime dragon stats comments that this boss is 11 levels above him, and even his attributes are frightening because he is extremely more powerful than a boss in the Desert of Tyranny. And to make matters worse, boss has multiple alb ability, so Dangel's boost lets out a roar causing a huge shock wave, and Slime thinks he can't, and let him move freely with such high speed points, so he activates his ability to curse slowness traps the Dangel boss, but this makes him even angrier at the mag. Mio's skeletons start attacking him, and after a big explosion, Mio wonders if he managed to offer Dange's boost seriously. However, to Limu's surprise, the boys activate their ability, increasing resistance, causing the slow curse to lose its effect, leaving the Limu worried, and then the dance boss TI his group attack ability, eliminating 4 Limu's skeleton warriors at once, but before Limu can do anything, Dan's boss already had his ability to make her act in a group, eliminating 2 more. Worried skeleton warrior Slime thinks that even if he manages to summon again the skeletons that were destroyed, yet there is a limit to his spiritual energy, so he thinks this ability to act at the moment is very dangerous, and he can't let the boys continue eliminating his skeleton warriors, so quickly Limu summons your undead general and activates his military situation skill. Suddenly all the skeletons that were stunned vote normal, and Limu realizes that the inspiration of the military situation manages to eliminate the stunning, but at the same time, taking a closer look, he realizes that in fact the skill does not remove the stun, but rather reduces the time by keeping the effect. So Limu says that his skeletons no longer need to fear because now the boss's torment ability, the gel, will no longer have any effect, and then all the skeletons attack again, and after the boy suffers the damages, constitution drops from 15,000 to 8547, and then the head of the jaw activated. Again his group stunned, but Limu activates his military status to remove the effect of the boost ability. To Danjo Limu then he says that it is useless for him to use this skill, and that now it will be his turn to attack when the effect control of Danjo's boy's ability disappears. So Limu is scared to realize that Danjo's boss has seen him. EA is quickly attacking him. Limu activates his soul flame, and after suffering the attack from the boys he is protected by his skeleton armor, so Limu wonders if he will be stunned, but upon realizing that the bee is next to his mag slime skeletons, and orders them all to attack him at the same time, and then he comments that now it will be the end of the boys. Then a big explosion happens, and it is reported that the guardian of the outpost has been eliminated. Elmo received 33 million experience, and the following gold grain items: a dagger from the Infernal Battlefront post, an Infernal Battlefront post shield, and an Infernal Battlefront post bracelet, and all these items are part of the outpost set. And finally Limu receives the Dragon Core, then is informed that Limu will also receive a profession transfer certificate, and he has also achieved the unique title called King of Dragon Clan War. Then it is informed that this title increases all attributes by another 500, and that consumption of all skills is reduced by 50%, and that this is a title earned by completing the dance from the rank of in front of the dragon's combat in hellish difficulty. When you see the message to defeat the Gel Lim boss, and the comment that he already imagined that the boss would drop the core, but he didn't think he would get the certificate of transfer necessary for class promotion so soon. And furthermore, Limu wonders if this title of War King from the Dragon Clan, it's not a bad idea. After Limu defeats the Dangel boss and finally reaches level 23, he grinds, realizes that it was in fact the Gel boss who dropped the nucleus, so he comments that now he already has a quarter of the materials of the mission that Godby had given him. Limu comments that he needed 10 Dragon Heart, 10 Essence of Blood 4 Dragon Heart, and that so far he already has 8 Dragon Bosses for Blood Essence, for Dragon Hearts, and 2 Dragon Cores. After Limu checks his items, he decides to see how his attributes are after leveling up. Limu notices that his attributes have risen considerably. Furthermore, now with his new title War King of the Clan of Dragon, all his attributes increased by another 500, and the consumption of skills decreases by 50% less in his space. Invocation is now 230, and he has 210 skeletons available, of which 140 skeleton warriors and 70 skeleton mages. His talent had a general action in ×10, and all his skills have risen to level 23, except the corpse explosion, which is now at level 3. Then Limu decides. Check the attributes of his skeletons, because as they leveled up, they must have increased significantly. His power when analyzing the slime skeleton warrior realizes that all his attributes now are at 5,500, and the skeleton mage has attributes of 2,300 and spirit of 9,200. I think that despite the difficulty, Infernal has a very high difficulty, it still provides much more experience, and besides the Dropa are also great. He then decides that after his skeletons recover, he will use the Resi Talisman to redo the Infernal difficulty again, and thus get the rest of the mission of God by. After Limu leaves Dangela, he sees a large number of glasses, and he comments that the smell of blood was quite strong, indicating that those people died there a short time ago. So quickly Limu activates his bone armor and asks what happened there, because before he entered Da, he already saw a large amount of people. He wondered what made them disappear. Suddenly 3 cons from the abyss jumped towards him, but he got rid of saved by his Dios armor. When looking deeper, he sees countless dogs from the abyss coming towards him, and Lima quickly summons his skeleton warriors, who activate his ability and Fura Blow and begins to eliminate, saving Limino. Suddenly he hears someone calling him, asking Limino to leave that place and join them. Extras inform Limo that the place is taken over by the dogs of the abyss. So after Limo joins them, a girl, he asks if he is hurt. The extras explain that they will stop the mutant dogs while the others use their teleportation rocks to get out from the place, and Limu asks the extra what happened there. He responds that the dam from the abyss sent a large number of dogs of the abyss surrounding and eliminating most people. Liu thinks that by joining the strength of these people they could have escaped, but they decided to stay to save those people who just left the dance. The extra form Lu that the country team and was unable to escape, resulting in many fights not only from them, but also of many people from X-Jing. The girl analyzed her and people inside the Dangel. She informs that everyone is already. Their paladin says it's time to get ready to leave together, and as they leave they realize that Limu didn't teleport and asks why Limu is still there. Then Limu summons his skeleton warrior and declares that he is not going anywhere as he still needs to complete the dance again. He also invokes several mages and skeleton that quickly attacks the mutant dogs, causing a huge explosion. The skeleton warriors attack of dogs users, eliminating several of them at once. The extras are surprised and wonder where they came from. So many skeletons, and soon realizes that the skeletons are Limu, and doesn't understand how they are so powerful because the cons of the abyss does not appear to be a threat to Limu's skeletons. So Limu instructs everyone to stay behind him as it's safer, and when the extras go after the Limu, they ask themselves why they are obeying this boy. Unconscious Limu explains that he asked them to leave Mayo because he will use a group attack skill, and he doesn't want to injuring them in the process. Then Limi activates his corpse explosion, causing a large explosion that leaves everyone frightened by such a powerful ability. After Limu eliminated several dogs from the abyss, he was informed that his merit military reached 100, and he was promoted to 1-star sergeant. Additionally, he acquired 1,000 points and 5 contribution points. Lima comments that he didn't think he would gain contribution points when promoted, and that he didn't. Is it surprising that God had told him that he should go to the Yuan battlefield to get points of contribution? Then Limo realizes that only Tanato Force rose to level 3, increasing his spirit by another 300. He comments that he cannot miss this opportunity to increase her level, and decides to eliminate all the dogs in the abyss. A lone demo starts to explode all the corpses, leaving the extras in disbelief. He wonders if Lee Moyu, some model student from some prestigious university, and that's why he entered the dance at the forefront of the combat. Dragon alone, but upon reflection realizes that the infernal difficulty, there was only one person, and then they realize that it was true that Limu was inside. He wonders how Limu got out of there alive, and how he managed to overcome the hellish difficulty, because the monsters there have powerful skills, the worst of which is stunning. They get curious about how Limo managed to overcome them. After Limo eliminates several dogs from the abyss, he receives a second star on your insignia, earning another 1,000 points, and 5 contribution points to your Thanatos faith as well. Goes up to level 4 RO, increasing another 600 spirit points, and Limu gets excited and comments that the higher the FO level, the more spirit points he will receive. He thinks that this weapon is not that simple, so he wonders when it will unlock is a new skill when you level it up. When you realize that all the dogs in the abyss are eliminated, Limu is disappointed and comments that he must have eliminated around 200 dogs from the abyss, and it would be great if more monsters from the abyss appeared. The extras eventually thank God for being alive and questioning themselves. Where did so many dogs of the abyss come from? They ponder whether the abyss is planning another large-scale attack. Commenting on the danger of the Wan battlefield, the group leader introduces himself to Limo as Chigon, and Limo does the same, mentioning that he is a level 23 necromancer from Shijin University. Shinon is surprised and he asks what year Limu is from, and Limu replies that it is from that year, and he says that he just participated in the ceremony of opening. The extras don't believe that Slime is such a powerful newcomer and question how this is possible, suggesting that new students should be at university-focused level 15 or 16. Then he wonders what Slime is doing, and Yuan Shingen's field gets excited and says he ground such heat. Powerful, and now I understand why he went to the Yuan battlefield alone, resisting until difficulty infernal. Then he informs Limu that he has his respect, and then Limu thanks Shindon and praises the team. Deli Limu asks why they don't challenge DJON on infernal difficulty, and one of the extras responds that Shindon, he can't even tank the monsters on difficulty, despite him, because he almost dies. Shinon explains that when he tried, he was at level 29 and still didn't have the right equipment, and now all he was missing was the shield, but he didn't. It's being sold at auction. Complete. Then the extras mention that they are almost at level 32 and that this is the limit of the danjo, so I felt Shinon hurrying because otherwise they would no longer be able to participate in it. Shinon reassures them, saying that we'll get the shield, but if he doesn't get it, he will buy a temporary shield from anyone on the grid of gold. Then he offers some items there, informing him that they have many items and can sell them to him for a good price. Chikan highlights that the advanced poach set is powerful and considered the best in the gold grid. Then he says that even though Lai M is only at level 23, he can gather the equipment from the set for when reaching level 30, being able to use them. Then Slime removes the shield from your inventory, precisely the shield you want. By Shinon, he asks if this is the shield of the battlefront post he wanted, and the veterans don't believe it and wonders how Limo got this item. When analyzing the attributes, he is informed that it is equipment from Verduro. By increasing all attributes by another 300, and the resistance rate to control skills by 50%, reducing also the control time by 50%, and it can only be used from level 30, so Chigon, after analyzing the attributes, he is incredulous, asking how Limu got this item. Limo explains that it was the drop from the guardian of the outpost and that he had just dropped. He arrives and asks if he heard correctly, that he heard Lemon say that he defeated the boss of the nightmare difficulty dance, then Limo answers yes, and all the veterans are in disbelief, and one of them comments that a hot man managed to solo Dango Infernal alone, and he wonders how that is possible, but to see that Limu has a shield, they comment that they cannot doubt it because he has the shield right in front of their eyes after. Lima hands over the shield to Curse and tells him to try to complete his set, then the special effect of group manifests itself, surprising even the other veterans who can see the distance, so they comment that this is the effect of the forward pose set, and people question who would have completed this set by stating that it is better than some platinum grade items, so they can't believe how anyone managed to complete it. Xingao offers 10 million gold coins for the shield, and when he sees that Slime is thinking desperately, he says that he just, "You have this, and please ask Limo to sell it." Then Limu says that this is a mere item from the gold grade, and that it is not fair to accept so much money for him, and then Limu says he will only accept 5 million. The veterans are quite happy and say that finally Shigon managed to complete his GR Aero Limu set, and that now they can finally complete the gel on nightmare difficulty. Then they start to say goodbye to Limu, and say that they will go back to Fortaleza because the effect of the set attracted a lot of attention, and soon it will be full of people, and even monsters here. Again Limo says it's a good idea, that he too will return to recover some of his spiritual power, so then they activate the teleportation crystals in another location. The god of the abyss does not understand what is happening because many dogs in the Abysmo were killed again, so he orders to on the demons and find out what is going on after Limu and the veterans vote. Shogun is very excited, and he tells Limu that thanks to him, he finally completed the set E, that now they will be able to face the Danjo again. So Chigon says that they have been waiting for this moment for a long time. And in the background of them 2 extras comment that the Knight of Holy Light is in the place looking at Limu Aisha and the Knight of the Holy Light talking, and the 2 extras comment that the profession of Knight of the Holy Light is legendary, and it seems that he is from the University of Zend and one of the most prestigious universities, and the extras comment that they feel a lot of envy for not having gotten a profession like that later. And the view Limu and approaches him. She asks what Limu is doing here, and he replies that he came to complete a mission, and she says it's too much of a coincidence because she also came to do the same thing. Zolan Sheng just watches the conversation them from afar then, and asks if the slime mission was also to get some materials from the Dragon Clan like Fifes or something similar, and then he says that it's obvious not because it would be very simple to Limu her. I bet that the Limu's mission is to get the Dragon Core, which only drops from the boss, so she asks if it's not right, and Limu says which she guessed, but he thinks that in truth the Bai doesn't just want one Dragon Core, but several of them, so and he gets excited and says he also needs the same item, and suddenly Jolin Sheng approaches and asks what's wrong doing with this guy, and responds that he is a friend of hers, and Zolan Sheng introduces himself to Limu saying that he is a knight of the level 30 Holy Light, and Limu says he is the level 23 necromancer upon hearing Limu's level, and gets impressed and asks how he managed to level up so quickly because the last time she heard he was at level 21. Limu says he has a Jowat, gives a lot of XP, and if she wants she can take it next time he goes to remember the old times. Then quickly and accepts. Elin Sheng tells her to wait a bit and tells me that they had talked that he would help at the dance, but he says that he stirs a lot because it will no longer be necessary to go with him at the Joe since she is now with Lemon. So tell Jolin Sheng not to worry. Zolan Sheng asks how she prefers to be 23, and that in fact he Dangel will also need help, and how he will help her, and tells Jolin Sheng that it is none of his business, and she does it. Thank you for being available to help her, but it is no longer necessary. Jin Sheng said to I that since she wants That's okay. So he says that if in this case this guy can't help her, let her look for him. So he thinks that. I can't believe that mere 23 is ignoring me, and that this is very arrogant. So I smiled and said to Joel and Sheng not to worry because Limu is more than capable of helping her. So Joel and Sheng leaves the place and ask Limu what difficulty they will have if it is normal or nightmare. Limu responds that none of them, and that in fact they are going to Infernal after Limu informs them that they are going to DJON in Infernal difficulty, and is in disbelief, and asks if he heard wrong because Ling had said he would take her on nightmare difficulty, and that this level of difficulty was already very difficult to complete. Limo realizes that he has become scared to learn that they are going on hellish difficulty, so he informs her that she didn't hear wrong and that they really go through this lively difficulty, and then says that this is great because she has been wanting to do it for a long time. Try the hellish difficulty but never had the chance. Meanwhile Zolan Sheng is wondering what Dan at number 23 manages to conclude, so he smiles and says I bet it will run back to him asking for help from Joe. Sometime later Limo is about to enter the dance together with I, and she TI the cooling talisman and speaks. Who can finally experience the infernal difficulty. Veterans see the two entering the Joe. Scared, wondering how the two of them are going to enter the danger alone in this difficulty, wondering if they are wanting to die. They comment that the last team that overcame the infernal difficulty was a group from the creation of X Jing, and that in their group there was an extremely skilled woman whose class was a blade dancer. Then they comment that Limo Yui must just be checking out the difficulty, and that they don't need to worry. Already worrying inside, DJ Limu activates his bone armoring ability on him in 2. Then she asks why Limu activated the defensive ability on her. Limu replies that it was just for safety since the monsters this difficulty are quite strong, so Limu starts to activate his ability, calling the soul, when he sees Limu activating her ability, and comments that she feels very safe when she is in Limu, because she knows that nothing will happen to her after walking around the dance for a while, and seeing the first Limu dis monsters to go, which will be like a walk in the park as long as they don't get hit by the crowd control skills. Everything will be fine after Limu starts eliminating the dragon spearman, and FIC excited and comments that she is so relaxing despite being a Joe on hell difficulty, and receives 300,000 experience for each spear dragon eliminated. And Limu says that it really seems easy, but it's not like that all the time, and mentions that Limu says these things calmly even when several people have trouble even completing the DJs in the difficulties, and that few people can complete a Joe on the infernal difficulty, and she says that Lemon makes things seem easy even though they are challenging for most people. Then Limu invokes her mag Skeletor and orders them to attack together with his warrior Skeletor, and comments that Slime has become more powerful than before, because now he can even summon skeleton mages when they are approaching Castle. Limao asks me if her mission also needs the Dragon Core, and answers yes, because she is also incredible and has already completed the first stage of the mission, and she comments that she already won the reward. Then she shows there she polished a ring and says that she is already in the second stage of the mission, and that she just needs to get the Dragon Core and go up to level 25. Furthermore, she also needs to become a 1-star soldier. After Limu analyzes the ring that was showing him, realizes it's a Goblin Chieftain's ring that increases all abilities by 1 more, so he asks what kind of ring it is, and asks if he doesn't think it's beautiful, so he explains that he created this ring with the core that Mola had given him to her when she defeated the Goblin boss. She says she got the rest of the Zit after completing the first stage of the mission, and reveals that she almost died trying to complete it when she was suddenly attacked, but bone armor protects her. Lemino asks her to be careful as there is a monster nearby. The lemon skeleton warrior quickly finds it. The Moncho eliminates it, and in fear I hugs Limu and asks if this is a type of invisible Moncho, and Limu replies yes. He asks her to stay closer to him, because from now on there will be several of them, and then says he isn't surprised or sees something like this on hellish difficulty, and mentions that as an assassin her abilities can see through invisibility. She tells Alamo that from now on she will help him, and then activates her Happy Vision. advanced and points to a location, informing Li Mayu that it is another assassin dragon quickly hiding them. Lemu's skeletons eliminates them, causing them to receive 320,000 experience points for each of them after. Eliminate them, Lemu, that from now on you no longer need to worry about invisible monsters, all thanks to Iand. Excited, I says she's incredible and asks Lemu if he wants her as a partner in other dances, but looking at. Followed by Lemu, she is impressed and asks how Lemu already has 2 stars. He says he eliminated some dogs of the abyss, then angry she says that he left her behind and that he will have to help her to reward. Lemu replies that everything is fine and that as soon as they finish the dance he will go help get the stars for IGN her. Sometime later they finally get to the Danger boss statue in L. Mola activates her OS armor and asks to go away. He comments that the boss will appear, so she agrees. Although she doesn't understand why he wants her to stay away considering his fighting style, in which he is in no danger. Some when eliminating the monsters after going away. Alimo, I ask what the boss is waiting for, telling him to appear soon because it's time for fun. Not suddenly the statue starts to crack then, and stands on top of a tree with a potato in her hand, commenting that she only has that left due to the blockage of the inventory. Then Dan's boss appears, and she finds herself on the front line in front of the boss. Quickly Mo activates his curse of slow ability, imprisoning the Danjo boss. However, he activates his resistance increased skill that cancels Lemu's skill. Then he activates his group attack skill, causing a strong tremor that scares her and makes her leave the potato that Lemon had given her. Lemon then activates her ability calling from the soul, makes it impossible for the DJ boss to use skills for a few seconds at a time. He then activates his military status by increasing the power of all his skeleton warriors and skeleton mages. After Dan's boss uses her slime toward ability, she returns to all the skeletons to invent it before being hit, and is impressed with Lemu's strategy as it prevents him from being affected by the skill of the boss. And when she sees Lemu defeating the Danger boss, she comments that he will actually roast the boss on difficulty. Infernal then comments that if she tells her grandfather, he won't believe her. Then Lem orders her. The skeleton mag attacks in a group with the skeleton warriors, eliminating the guardian from the outpost. This causes that they receive 1,650,000 experience for each of them. In addition, the following items were dropped: the sword of the infernal outpost, the magic tunic of the infernal outpost, and the belt of the infernal outpost. You also receive 2 dragon cores and receive a profession transfer certificate after receiving all this experience and level up, leaving her impressed. She mentioned dropping 2 cores and earning a certificate of profession transfer. Then I hug Lemuel, telling her that she got a profession transfer certificate. Profession, and he asks if the profession transfer certificate does not have a guaranteed drop on infernal difficulty, and then he gets embarrassed and says he didn't know that, highlighting that he only filed would consider a certificate as important as something trivial. Then Limo says he has something lined up for her. Before leaving, he hands over a dagger from the front post of the infernal combat. This item is part of the outpost set, being a gold grade weapon that increases all attribute points by 500 and also increases the skill of the weapon by 50%. CC Assassin, but can only be used at level 30, and is impressed, asking if Limu will really give this item to her. Limu confirms, mentioning that she had saved it. It had been a while to give it to her Limu. So he suggests resting a little, and then coming back to create more items and levels, and agree with his suggestion. Outside the Danjo, the veterans who were with Limu the other time are once again protecting the Danjo from the monsters from the abyss, and Shurgon comments that he was very lucky to complete the advanced post set, otherwise they would be in trouble. Kin mentions that there is a demon from the abyss in the sky and asks what they are going to do, and Shion shouts to everyone get ready until the lemon heat appears, because these dogs of the abyss are nothing compared to his power. The demon of the abyss sees the veterans near the Adu, comments that they were not the ones who eliminated his children because does not smell them on these people. She then mentions that she will devour them all, and then orders them to dogs of the abyss attack the veterans. Then they begin to eliminate several of them, and then Jolin Chung leaves the dance, and when you least expect it, 2 dogs from the abyss attack, leaving you scared without understanding. Oh! What is happening? He wonders what happened there, and because there is so much sea of the abyss in the place, Jolin Shung quickly activates his transformation aura ability, increasing his and his party's resistance, preventing the dogs of the abyss manage to attack them. However, more dogs from the abyss approach. Isolin Shing wonders where so many dogs are coming from the abyss, cursing Tom in front of them, and warns Zolin Shung to be careful because there is a demon from the abyss in the sky. Then, in front of Zolin Shung, the demon of the abyss approaches, and when he was in a hurry to attack him, Jolin Shung says to everyone, "Don't worry, because the demon won't be able to cross your protection wing since he is a knight of the holy light." However, Zolin Shung did not expect that she would be able to hit him easily by throwing him away. Zolin Shung wonders why Swara isn't activating, so he says he doesn't believe his AA. It didn't work against this demon. He wonders how this is possible. Then Zolin Shung, quite hurt, comments that he almost died with just one attack of her. Getting to see Zhou Lining is disappointed to see him almost eliminated with one attack. He comments that Zolin Shung was bragging so much, but in the end, he got a beating. The other veteran mentions that thought that the legendary professions were always powerful, but it seems that he was mistaken. So after trying analyzing the abyss demon status, Shinon comments that he is a level 36 abyss demon, but he can't see his name nor his attributes. Shinon then says that they are in trouble because he can't bear it for long time. A level 36 demon. The other veteran asks what they are going to do, and Chigon says they can only wait the heat. The lemon leave the Joe to be able to help them. The demon of the abyss to see that almost eliminated Zin Shung with just one attack. She starts laughing and says that eliminating a legendary profession from Knight of the Holy Light will be a great opportunity to gain solemn fame. Starts screaming, saying that he already asked for help and that they will arrive soon. He thinks that he can't beat this demon alone, but he also cannot die here. Beside him a strong light appears, and the demon from the abyss leaves too upon Zolin Shung, saying that it's too late and want to eliminate him right now. Then Limu and leave to Danjo, and after the demon sees Limu, she says that he was the one who killed her puppies. Furious, she goes after Limu, saying that will destroy him, and when he looks up, Limu sees the demon attacking him. The veterans shout for Limu to be careful, because this demon is very powerful. Before Limu can do anything, he is hit by the demon of the abyss, causing a strong explosion, but to the demon's surprise, Limu's bone armor defends the attack, and Limu asks what the demon thinks he is doing it. She launches countless attacks against Limu, but she doesn't understand what is happening and wonders why her attacks aren't working. Then Slime activates her soul flame, making it impossible for her to do so, to cast magic or attack him again, and in desperation the demon begins to flee, saying that she will vote to eliminate him. However, Limo asks if the demon is trying to escape, and she quickly activates her ability and slow curse, causing her to remain practically immobile. Limu does not use her ability only in the devil, but also in the sea of the abyss that was attacking the veterans. The veterans are impressed by this Limu ability and comments that all the dogs have become so slow that they can barely move, so they say that this ability is very powerful and covers a very large area. The demon is desperate, trying to escape, but it is ineffective. Night. Then I begin to say that this demon has now gone wrong, and then Limu summons all his skeleton warriors and says that now it's his boy's turn to get in on the action. Limo orders everyone to eliminate the demon of the abyss and the dogs of the abyss, and quickly the slime warriors begin to attack the demon, making him scream. Desperate, Chinon, the veterans start to king, saying that finally the warm Limu has summoned its skeletons, and that now they are all safe after Limu's warriors eliminate some dogs from the abyss. He activates his ability to corpse explosion, causing a huge explosion, leaving the abyss demon badly injured. Liu and analyzes the statues of her, discovering that the name of this demon is the bitch demon of the abyss, and that he is a normal monster of the level 36 with attributes of 8,000 points and spirit of 3,000. Her skills include flying and heavy attack. Limu asks if that's all they have to face him, and then the warriors Limu eliminates the demon bitch, causing Elmo to receive 360,000 experience and 50 points of military merit. He also receives the blood essence of the Abyss Demon in this item. It is used by blacksmiths to strengthen equipment, so it is reported that it has reached 500 military merit points. And he was promoted to a 5-star soldier, receiving 1,000 points and 5 points of contribution, and I was impressed because she also received military merit, commenting that she didn't know she would gain so many points. So Limu's Tana side rose to level 7, increasing her spirit her in more 2,100. Limu asked if she completed all the missions, and she is very excited and says that she completed it quickly thanks to Limo and Zolan Sheng. Seeing everyone excited and thanking them, Mayu comments that he was the one who should be on a pedestal enjoying everyone's admiration, and not this guy. He wonders how he is a Knight of Light. Level 30 Sacred was saved by the mere level 23 beginner, so Zolan Sheng says that his honor was tarnished, but promises that sooner or later Limo will kneel before him and ask for forgiveness for putting him through this humiliation. He then says that one day it will be his, will make her realize who really it's the most powerful. Guys, thank you to everyone who has watched so far. I ask you to leave a like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment saying whether we should continue with our adventure. This helps us a lot to continue producing our content. I thank all of you who stayed this far, and until the next adventure,